What's up YouTube? Jeff Beck again from DopeTechDaily.com. Today I'm bringing you guys an interesting video. I'll get a lot of requests to review Android phones, as you might imagine, especially those that are in the mid-range and budget segment. I just don't have a lot of time to review all of them. So I decided to pick out one of the requests I got and see what you get in a randomly selected Android phone these days. I just picked a brand that I'd never heard of and said, okay, yeah, let me take a look at it. So we're going to take a look today at the Figo Gravity X55L. Quick unboxing and review. I've been using it for about 4 days. First of all, the specs right here on the side, 5.5-inch display. This is 720p, so it's not full HD, just an HD display. MediaTek processor in here. You get Android Marshmallow, 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of internal storage, 5-megapixel front shooter, 13 megapixels on the back. It does have HDR mode, 3,000 milliamp hour battery. You do get a 4G LTE on T-Mobile and AT&T. Depending on where you live, there are one band missing from each of the two manufacturers. So before I get into the phone, obviously you can see I've been using it. Let me show you guys what comes in the box. The packaging is actually pretty nice from the guys at Figo. Let's take a look. Inside, as usual, you do get a SIM tool. You also get, this is important, this is an adapter because probably you have a nano SIM and this one takes a micro SIM, so you probably haven't seen one of these in a while, but that's pretty useful. Let's see what else we get inside the packaging. On the bottom, you've got some stuff, and on the side as well. So inside here, nice little inclusion. You get a case along with the quick start guide right there in multiple languages. This fits the phone pretty nicely. Has some Figo Gravity branding on it. It's got a textured back. For an included case, it's actually really nice. I'll show you guys in a second how well that fits on there. In the bottom here, you've got a little more regulatory information, and then you've also got a screen protector in here. So this is actually a tempered glass screen protector. So really nice accessories that have been offered by Figo included in the box. And then inside here, also some really good stuff. You've got, show you guys what they look like. These are some earbuds, pretty nice looking earbuds. I haven't tested the quality on these yet, but they do look pretty nice. I imagine the quality is not going to be amazing, but all these included accessories is certainly nice. And then the cable, it's a flat cable. This is micro USB, so not USB Type-C, but a very nicely put together cable, one that should be really easy and not to tangle in your car. And then of course you get your power brick to put there with your charger. So that's everything that comes inside the box. So let's get the box out of the way here and let's talk about the actual phone. So here is the Figo Gravity X55L. It's got some Figo branding on the back. You can see it kind of resembles, in my opinion anyway, a Xiaomi Redmi phone, but it definitely has a nice overall build. This is the gray color on the back. It's two-tone, the top and the bottom. It does have a nice metal feel to it. Center-mounted fingerprint scanner. There's the 13-megapixel camera. Power volume rocker right here on the side. On the top, some nice surprises actually. You got a headphone jack, not that common in flagships these days, and an IR blaster, which is definitely not common in flagships these days, and actually a compelling reason to get the phone. Over here, you got your SIM slot as well as expandable storage up to 64 gigabytes. On the bottom firing speaker, as well as that micro USB port. And that's pretty much the entire tour of the outside of the phone. On the front, you do have that aforementioned 720 display. It does collect fingerprints a lot. I'm not sure if there's an oleophobic coating on here. I couldn't find out actually what the type of Gorilla Glass or protective glass was on here, so I'm not sure. It doesn't seem to scratch too easily, but it does get fingerprints quite easily. 720p display, even though it's not full HD or quad HD, it actually is not too bad. The viewing angles are pretty good, and in terms of the overall color reproduction, I was pretty impressed. It does have big bezels on the front, which might look out of place in 2017. But remember, this phone is priced below $200, so that's important. Very close to stock Android on this phone. I took a screenshot right out of the box, and I'll show you guys really quick the screenshots of what apps were included. Not quite as few as the one on the Essential phone, which I showed yesterday, but these are the apps that they had included right there on the first page, and then these are the apps that were included on the second page. Pretty much all Google apps, aside from their camera app. You also have in here an FM radio, which definitely is not something you really see in flagships anymore. File manager out of the box as well, and the Peel Smart Remote. So Peel Smart Remote is for use with the aforementioned IR blaster, so you can use it to control your TV. I definitely think that's a great feature to have, and one that I wish that was making its return to flagships in 2017, but it doesn't seem to be. Otherwise, it's very close to stock Android. Now, one downside, of course, as I mentioned, it is running Android 6.0 Marshmallow. It also has an October security patch, and I haven't gotten an update since I got it. This thing's supposed to be available to upgrade to Nougat eventually, but I've kept checking the updates and it just hasn't hit my device. So hopefully eventually it will get that, but right now running Marshmallow, it is still very smooth. I definitely think that you should be a little concerned about the lack of security updates, but for the price, if you're using it as a backup phone or a phone for your kids, and they're just mainly going to be using it as a Wi-Fi situation, that might not be a huge issue. You do get a Figo support link within the apps as well. This phone, given the MediaTek processor, it doesn't have a lot of graphics capability. I played some basic games like One More Line, Super Mario Run. They performed okay. I definitely wouldn't play anything like Injustice or really graphic intensive games, racing games or fighting games on here. It's just not going to perform very well overall. 3,000 milliamp hour battery. I've gotten decent battery life, about 4.5 hours screen on time on an average cycle, which has been pretty good. In terms of the camera is actually one of the more impressive things about this phone, given that it doesn't have a really impressive processor for any image signal processing, computational photography. I was able to get some really good shots, especially with the HDR mode. Check out the photo here and the detail here in the background with the clouds there. I mean, that's very impressive overall. You can see the really nice blue in the sky. You can see the color shifting a little bit in the viewing angles, and that does happen on the 720p display. As I mentioned before, the blue changes as you shift around. Sometimes it blows out the color and makes it way too bright in HDR. This is a shot with HDR versus not with HDR. You can see that you lose some of the subtlety in the greens. This shot here was without HDR of my car, and this one's with HDR. If you zoom in, you guys can see the nice clouds in this photo. And then if you zoom in this one, you'll notice that there are absolutely really no clouds in the background, no matter what viewing angle I tilt the screen to. Overall, I was impressed with the camera. I mean, for under $200, it takes some pretty nice macro shots. You can see the detail right there as well. Just a pretty nice shot for a phone in this price category. I think it's pretty impressive. The selfie camera also pretty good. You guys know I'm not a huge selfie taker. Here's some more with macros with nice detail. Huge shout out to my friend Jamie for sending these little trinkets over from Australia. I use them as my camera test for some macros. They've got some nice detail. And then here's the selfie I took. So overall, the cameras are very good. So if you're going to give this to like a teenager or something, I think they'd be happy with using the camera. For less than 200 bucks, I think it's like 159 right now. I think it's a really good deal, especially if you're someone who cares about this IR blaster. You can't really get that on very many phones these days. I think that's a compelling feature that might make it a nice secondary phone for other people. For instance, just have it right there on the couch. You can use it as a web browser, use it for social media, and then also use it as a secondary remote. That's another possible use for the phone. And I think in terms of that, it's definitely nice. The main downsides are the outdated software. Right now, just 2 versions old now that Oreo just came out. And then, of course, also, it's not going to be really able to play really graphic intensive games, but if that's not a problem for you, then overall, it might not have a huge issue. 720p display is not the biggest issue. It does have some touch latency issues, though, when comparing to flagships. It's not quite as sensitive to touch, but if you haven't been using flagships regularly, that's something you're not even going to notice. All right, guys, so that's my overview of the Figo X55L. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I was pleasantly surprised with what you're going to get from a randomly selected Android phone in 2017, and I think this is probably a pretty good chance that around this price point, this is what you can expect. Please like and subscribe if you guys enjoy the video so I can make future videos like this. Huge shout out to Figo for sponsoring the video. I highly appreciate it and sending out the phone. You guys can find me at dopetechdaily.com, Google+, Instagram, and Twitter. The link's in the description. Appreciate you guys checking it out, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.